I've been asked by quite a few landlords recently what my advice is to them. And my advice depends on whether you have got a single property you're renting out, or you've got a few, or you've got a portfolio. We all know that interest rates have gone up from probably 2% to 7% for some landlords. Some are still on fixed deals at 2 or 3%, but they will be coming to an end, I'm sure. Last year I was fortunate enough to fix my whole of my portfolio across the UK at 4.1% for 15 years. Some of that's a bit of luck because it was due to come up, and some of it was foresight. So anyway, this isn't about me, this is about you guys out there and my advice to you. So I think there's 3 different categories of landlords. There's the landlord that's got 1 or 2 properties, and for those people, even if you're having to subsidise the rent yourself going at the moment, I would hang in there, because if you sell those properties, buying more properties in the future will be difficult. And if you've already got them, even if you're subsidising by £200-300 a month, my advice is to hang on in there, because I think in 5 years' time you would kick yourself for getting rid of them. I really do believe that. So for those landlords, I would say hang on in there. Remember that over 25 years the market's gone up 5% a year on average. Unless you've got a real dog of a property which is a total nightmare and needs so much work done all the time, if it's that slightly different in that situation, I might get it vacant and sell it. But on the whole, if you've got 1 or 2 properties, I would try and hang on to them, because I think you would kick yourself, or if you don't, the younger generation, your family who might inherit them in the future. So 1 or 2, try and hang on. If you've got to subsidise the mortgage yourself, try and do so. Of course, if you can't, that's different, but try and hang on. Now, for the people who have got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 properties, and interest rates are going up or have gone up in those properties, and you're making very little money, I would always try and pick 1 or 2 properties out of your portfolio where you don't owe too much money. There are perhaps 1 or 2 that you bought a while ago which have got a large amount of equity in, and I would look to sell those properties, and with that cash you produce, I would then try and pay down the other loans. And even if you're still on a low fixed rate at the moment, that will end at some point. Anticipate the problems before they happen. Anticipate, and try and pay that down, so when it comes to renewal, you're not in a situation where they've changed the banking criteria and now they're only lend you 50% and you were borrowing 70%. So you've either got to put 30, 40, 50, £100,000 in to carry on with the loan, or you've got to sell it. So anticipate those problems before then. And if you've got 1 or 2, as I said, on where you owe less money on, sell those and then use that money to pay down the others in your portfolio, properties in your portfolio. So that's the people with 3 to 10 properties probably. Now, for the fortunate ones who have got a large portfolio, bit different really, because for those people, you can certainly afford to sell a few off and reduce your borrowings, which again is probably a good idea. But you may find that actually you've got the wherewithal to push on and buy more. So it's a different scenario for you guys probably, in as much that you've been doing it a long time, you've got a big rental income probably, and although interest rates have gone up, you're in a much stronger position than the other 2 categories that I've mentioned. Of course, you still might want to sell some and pare it all down a bit in terms of borrowings. You might want to do that, or you might want to gear up and actually borrow a bit more money on some of them, if you can, and get a war chest together to go out and buy more. So it is different for you guys, definitely. But remember, if you think this Conservative government have been tough on landlords, my goodness, you wait till Labour get in. If they get in, they will be much, much tougher. And of course, don't forget the new rules coming out for Michael Gove, I think probably by Christmas, that are going to say that if a tenant wants to remain in a property and they're paying the rent, there's nothing you can do to get them out. Now, if that is the case, that's very serious, because if you need to sell your property to reduce your debt, you may not be able to. You may not be able to get it vacant. In other words, you're selling it as an investment property, which means it's worth less than it is if it's vacant. So please, please anticipate the problems, deal with it now, don't bury your head in the sand. Good luck.